Deep below the ground in Old Town, some believe there's a system of tunnels.
That's another pipe run there on the other side of the auditorium. It's a hollow tunnel.
Others believe noises emanate from dark corners of the old school building that only a ghost story could explain.
I did hear the footsteps at one time, so I feel like that secretary's still roaming this building.
We'll examine these old school X-Files and try to figure out what, if any, are true. Our first stop is the internet, where the building is listed as one of Oklahoma's haunted places. Numerous stories abound, one describing an old underground swimming pool. Joe Alexander, one of the current old school owners, takes us on a trip down below to check this one out.
The sump pumps were not working at the time when we purchased it, had a lot of water in it, and the water was draining directly into this building, which has been all eradicated now. And so that might be the swimming pool. I'm not sure.
But there's no swimming pool now?
No swimming pool.
So the underground swimming pool is false. But there are old lockers and even showers down here. As one story goes, you can throw a basketball over the shower wall.
He threw it up over the wall, and the basketball landed on the ground, and it sat there for a while, and then it came back up over the wall. And they freaked out. They were just screaming and, oh my gosh, what's going on, you know? And so they told me to go and look and see if somebody was back there. And so, because I just thought maybe, you know, my dad was hiding back there or something. And so I went back behind the wall and there wasn't anybody there.
We gave the basketball story a test.
Here goes.
And no response. But no worries, there are plenty more stories to investigate, like tunnels winding under the city.
I mean, it actually is, if I didn't know better, a tunnel.
Below the old school building, there is a tunnel system of sorts.
There's a trap door here and there, like in the stage or in the auditorium, there's a trap door that you can go right into that tunnel if you wanted to, but I couldn't fit in it, but a small person could.
But far from crisscrossing the city, these tunnels are used to carry pipes specifically for the old school building. So the tunnel stories appear to be a bit exaggerated. However, if we move above ground, there is one story we can prove: the city's streetscape project. Unlike the folk tales, this is really happening and will transform the look of Old Town.
It's definitely the beginning, and it will have a huge impact on the business community in the downtown area. But this is the part the city can play and do our part to revitalize downtown. It will have a big impact.
You can expect to see things like brick entry signs, decorative lighting, and lots of landscaping. It should be very attractive, not only to Moore's living residents, but maybe some unliving ones as well.
It sounded like someone scooted a chair on a wooden floor, scooted the chair, they were getting up out of the chair. They started walking down the hall above us, and I told them, I said, it's just alumna. We're not going to bother anything, it's okay. They followed us all the way down to the alumna room, and then it stopped and never did hear it again.
But many others have heard it again.
One of my best friends, she heard high-heeled footsteps behind her.
The sound of high-heeled shoes walking the floors of the old school building.
She thought that it was my mom because she was dressed up that day. And so she started to turn around and say my mom's name. And when she turned around, there wasn't anyone there. So she ran off down the other end of the hall and just left the building and stood outside by herself until we came out.
Many believe these sounds come from a secretary or teacher that once worked at the old school building.
I can't say it's wrong or untrue, because I've heard all the stories from different people. You see, in our generation and all the generations that went to school in this building, the teachers, the secretaries, and the school administrators, they all wore business suits. The ladies wore high heels. They were dressed to the hilt.
I've never heard a high heel one, except rural people coming in to eat or something, you know, or shop. And so that's the closest to any spook I know of.
Is there something roaming these halls, or is it merely a creaking old building in the wind?
So apparently there is some spirit movement in this building.